Hey guys and dolls, this is Casey DeVille, the better half of DeVille Inc., Baltimore, Maryland. If you're ever in Baltimore, stop in and see me and Tony. Invisible Bree, 5920 Eastern Avenue, Baltimore, Maryland, 21224. Give us a call if you're in the area at 410-400-9641, or look us up on the web at DeVilleInc.com. DeVille Inc., where we specialize in you.
It's time for a talk with Teddy. So grab a cup of tea and a bottle of whiskey, because it's going to be a crazy ride.
All right. Well, welcome everybody to another episode of Talk with Teddy.
Hello, my friend.
This is going to be a fun night. My original guest was canceled tonight, so I reached out to another friend of mine, Mr. Dominic. He is a new member of the WLFE-DB radio network. He joined just recently, and he's got a new show coming out. It's called Real Talk with Don, and it's going to be on Monday nights right after Paratalk Radio at 10 o'clock. So make sure you guys tune in and check out the show. That's what we're going to do tonight. Is we're going to talk to Dom about the show. We're also going to talk about him being an author. He's written a couple books, poetry actually, and they're all very cool. And I figured we'd take the opportunity to dive into his books and talk about the new show and all that good stuff. So welcome to the show, Dom.
Ironically, what's great about this is the first time I was on your show is that somebody was not able to get on, and I was the first poet on. And that was my first book. Now somebody was not able to get on, and we get to talk about the second book.
I know. Isn't that weird? It's like I was going to have you on anyways to talk about all this stuff, but I scheduling, is so tough for people today.
I get it.
And, you figured with the whole COVID mess and everybody trying to get their lives back together the way that was, it's like, no, it's time, So Alicia Starr says hello to Dominic. Nice to meet you.
Hi, guys.
So it's, things happen for a reason. So that's the way we have to look at it.
Before I even start talking about myself and things like this, I want to give you props to listening to me and like bringing people like Jen on the show last night. Oh. It was a great show. And then, you're so helping with people and trying to just push shows forward with people who need it. My biggest regret in the world was not going into radio in my 20s. Now, in my 30s, late 30s, this is now comfortable. And now I can help people come into, what they're doing. And I think it's a great thing that you're doing. And I thank you for helping me of all you do for everyone. And for people who hate like Real Talk with Dom and shit like that, like, there's other shows that you could watch, and there's other people here that like WLFE-DB, like we're a family now. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And John, who's the actual owner of the business,
Indeed.
that was his whole thing was he goes, I don't want it to be just another radio network. I don't want it to be, something, just like, like a rat race, like something you have to do every day. It's demanding of you. It's a job. And it's like, I don't want that. He said, I want it to be more like, they want to do it. Like it's a love of their life. Like it's family, it's like they get excited about doing their shows and, all that. Yeah. So he's really just, said, here, take it, make it happen.
No, it's cool. And then like you put up my advertisement, it said mid-October. It didn't happen.
Right.
And it's because I was not comfortable enough to go in there alone. And that's why you're going to be, pretty much my wingman on my first show, showing me how to do this, because I don't know what I'm doing. Shit.
Well, you got to have some idea, or you wouldn't be doing it. So Genevieve's on here, Genevieve Kelly, and she says, "Hi guys, you look at that." Patricia's on here, your mom. She says, "Hi guys."
That's my mom. Yeah, my mom and Genevieve. There's all great people. I mean, just good people.
Yep, and Tom from Tom's World is on here as well. So,
Tom, love you, brother.
So eventually,
and he's doing good things with that little. He's got that whole little a couple of acres of just a park. Holy shit, that's amazing.
Yeah, it's fantastic. He's doing a great job.
It's amazing looking.
So yeah, definitely. Hello, David. So it's one of those things with WLFE, and when John said, he goes, I want this network to be fun. I want it to be family. I want it to be people that have a genuine interest of doing their own show.
Yeah.
And I said, hey, okay, so your first visit on my show, you brought up that we talked about your book and all that stuff, and it's like it's kind of funny because you were doing film production, you were doing TV, and this is something you always wanted to do, and I'm just like, hey, you ever thought about doing your own radio show? And you're like, yeah. But so this is fun. This is going to be a new adventure for you.
Yeah,
I'm really excited about it.
It's so cool that we talk about that. It's like I wanted to give up film years ago, and I did a year ago, and I worked one film day yesterday on a commercial, and we're all eating lunch by ourselves as we put on that show last night with the masks on. I get it, it's cool, but as a family, we're all looking at each other like, well, shit, I'd love to have lunch with you, but I can't.
Right. Right.
So I don't want to go back to that world. I don't want to be an actor. This is what I want. I just want to be Dom.
Yeah, it's funny is because people have asked me, because I've done a couple TV shows, and they've asked me and it's pretty much what you're saying. They're like, so do you want to, you want to sign a contract? You want to do this? You want to continue on? I'm like, no. I'm more comfortable doing the radio than I am on TV, and I'd rather stick with radio.
It's because we get to be ourselves, I believe, right? We get to talk how we talk, and there's no script.
Yep.
Honestly,
nobody over your shoulder either. There's nobody there telling you what you have to do. I mean, we at WLFE have guidelines and rules and all that stuff, and it's just it's pretty easy.
Indeed. And I'm so friggin' tired tonight that I'm just winging this, and it's going to be good, and it's going to be fine,
Robert White says, okay, now it will let me comment. Hi, Dom. Hi, Ted. So he must have had a problem with commenting.
Hey, friend.
Robert is in Australia. We haven't seen him in a while, so welcome aboard.
Indeed.
Great. David C.
My books are selling in Australia for some reason. I have no idea why.
Nice. David C., I don't know who you are, but welcome aboard. So tonight, my friend Dom is going to be, we're going to actually chatting about his first book and second book, more about the second book, and we're going to talk about his new show, and you guys feel free to ask questions. It's just going to be a relaxed conversation, and for about an hour and a half, whatever happens, and go from there. Tom says, I never go by a script, not even in my videos. I just wing it.
I love Tom. That's Tom's world, though. Come on now.
Sometimes improv is sometimes the best way to go. I mean, when I was a kid, I wanted to be on Broadway. Believe it or not, I'm a singer by trade, and I really, that's what I want to do. It's still a dream of mine, but I'm old now, so I don't go for it. But
Cindy brought that up last night. What are you doing with that? Cindy found you in a dream.
Yeah, I actually have rehearsal with a band on Saturday, and we're just gonna sing some tunes and have some fun for a couple hours. And I do miss it, but not in that avenue, I should say. I mean, I write and stuff like that, and I'd like to do my own stuff, instead of somebody else's.
Well, let's talk, while we're on music subject, Chris Bolin, I can't give my other friend's name out, but he'll go as the name Shelton. We're doing a band called Stag. which is one big ass heavy metal band that we're going to do. One
Wow.
heavy ass album because we love it. Stag means alone. I'm going to do my vocals here by myself. In their states, they're going to do all their tracks by themselves. And we're going to take whatever in my book and we're just going to pick some like poems. We're just going to do heavy ass tracks and do it all together. And Stag means alone. And we're going to do it one time. And we're never going to have a crowd. No, nothing else from there. Just one heavy ass album. It's going to be fun. And we love it.
Nice. Well, life is too short not to have fun. So,
Yeah.
you gotta do things. And people always say, "Hey, reach for your dreams." Well, I've done that. I certainly have more and more dreams, a lot more dreams. But right now, I'm just taking it one step at a time and doing what I need to do to get through. And writing and singing and the radio and all that stuff is just fun for me.
Yeah.
So it helps get rid of all the stress and stuff of the day. So
my second book is very depressing as far as what you're talking about right now. It's very.
That's not good.
No, I get it. It's very depressing as far as what you're talking about right now because I totally I feel what you're saying because like going through life, everything I really truly wanted technically never happened until now in the 30s. So it's kind of weird. But I wrote about it, and I didn't even think about it. But yeah, as you're talking about it here, it makes sense.
There you go. Tom says, that's not to say that I don't have many, many, many takes during my videos. Hell, if I made a blooper reel, it would be hours long. Not an exaggeration at all, he says.
That would be a great blooper, like, for sure.
Right. Well, I have
so
bloopers of me and
cool
Cindy.
by himself. Yeah.
I have bloopers of me and Cindy and John from Paratalk Radio, and some of them are hysterical. Someday I'll make a blooper reel or a video or something out of it. Robert says you were lost in one of Cindy's dreams, Ted. Are you okay? Yeah, I'm fine. Thank you.
Yeah, he's fine. He's fine. Now, Ted, I want to do this something with you too because of a Jen. I want to do the ghost tour. So when the COVID lifts a little bit, we'll all get together and I'll fly in. And let's go to her and just do one of these tours together. So let's let everything kind of settle, and I'm in.
I had a great time talking with Genevieve, and I think what she does with her tours is amazing.
She's so cool.
Yeah, she's very cool, and she had a great time last night. She said she sent me a couple messages after the show, and she's just got a great spirit, bright person. Not as intelligent, but as in brightness, as in her aura and everything about it. It's just amazing. So,
and I got a lot of hits today with my own text with saying, "Hey, what a great time last night with her. She did good for my family in Jersey. They love it." And you know what? I talked with you earlier, so it's like it was a good time. And I thank you for believing in her for that. I appreciate that.
Oh, not a problem. She doesn't need anybody to sell her because she's doing well on her own.
And I don't want to sell her because like she's just super cool.
There you go.
But anyway, let's do this. Let's go on.
Let's get into this. So we'll start with the book first. Excuse me. You're welcome, Genevieve. And she said I had a great time. Well, we did too, and I'm glad you enjoyed yourself.
Yes, we did.
All right. So you said this next book is sadder. So what do you mean? Is it more like the first one was a little dark, and stuff, but what's this one?
This one's darker. Unfortunately. And I didn't even mean it to be.
Right.
I had a friend who's a poet and he's an undercover writer. Mm-hmm. And he read it and said, it's very hard to follow. Because I go into the arts of what we do. Mm-hmm. Not as far as poetry, if you look between those lines.
Right.
A lot of paranormal in my writing. But he said when I got to read it, he goes, "It's your mind." And he goes, "Holy shit. Like, it's out there and I love it." And that's what I want. I want people to think after you read me. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you read my book, you take the time out, and if you hate it, I'm sorry. Just like I said, like, if you hate my work, like, I don't know what the fuck to tell you. I mean, like, I put my shit out there, and if you buy it and you like it, I'll keep going. You know?
Mm-hmm.
I have 3 here that I'll read for you guys. And it's going to be in between the lines because now this is like the whole second book is out of my hands anymore, as I said for the first one. So as I write them, I don't remember them. So
Mhm.
I as I'm reading it, it's like reading it for the first time again.
Well,
And
I
by the way,
understand that because sorry to interrupt, but I understand that because me being a writer myself and writing music, I'll write lyrics and lines, and I'll be like, "What the hell did I write?" And then the worst part about it is, in most cases, which is a no-no in music, I crumple it up and I throw it away.
right.
You shouldn't
So
do that.
I had these poems in the kitchen in the back. One was called Pariah. A few others, and I'm reading them like I don't even know what the fuck I was even saying in them, and I crumble them up and I throw them right in the fire pit. Like they just never made the cut. But I loved them when I was writing them.
Right.
You know.
Well,
So I'm like,
it's tough because sometimes you lose something that, like later on down the road while you're writing, you're like, oh, I know I wrote about this or something that would have fit with it. What did I do with it? You know?
yeah, it's crazy. And then people are like, oh, well, what are you doing for a third book? And I'm just like, no, I want to get number 2 out there. Number 1's still got to sell. You know,
Right.
all with that. And then like number 2's there. I don't want to write a third book until probably next October. I literally just want to, yeah. I mean, real talk with Dom's gonna happen. Talk with Teddy. Haunted happy hour with Genevieve.
Tom wants to
Um,
know what's up with the ghost behind you.
oh, his name's Boo.
Nice. Couldn't have guessed that one.
Yeah, no, he's super cool. He's always all right.
All right.
But
So
yeah,
as you were saying, because I want to show people, I think you're using this.
that's
This is the
that's the
book.
one, and you helped me with that.
Yeah. Yeah, I
So
did.
the story behind 2, um, was Teddy made the 2 with the 2 in the middle with the Dominic Santaceros because I wanted to go to the second page as far as putting, the title to it. And then Teddy last night made that cover. So I give him full credit for that. I drew this picture years back. I'm no artist, but I just drew it and I wanted to use it because, you know what? Why not? It's
Right.
me in a
Right.
nutshell.
Right. Well, I think it's cool.
So,
And thank
yeah.
you for letting me be a part of that. That's awesome.
Absolutely. Thank you for letting me be a part of all this. So
Right.
all the thank yous are just in the universe.
Awesome. Oh.
And all here, like, check this out. Like, for the people, talk with Teddy. I mean, WLFE and like the books that you have. I mean, they're all here.
Mm. Well, I
You know,
appreciate that. Yeah.
of course, I appreciate everything you do for me.
You're welcome. You're welcome. It's not much. I mean, it is what it is. But your books, like the first one, we kind of went through that one in the last time that we spoke. But this one, I'm really interested. I mean, it wasn't long for the second book. I mean, what was the space between both books? A month or 2 or 3
Yeah,
months?
I knew we were going to talk about this tonight, and I thought about this answer because on the last show we talked, it was almost done, and then technically, when you think about it, it takes only weeks to days for it to be over.
Right.
But
Right.
then you go into those situations where it's like your motivation is gone. And then like a couple weeks go by, more weeks go by, maybe a month. But yeah,
Mhm.
I mean, this was a very short period. There's so much in my head to just push to the universe. I mean, I love this new book. I really do.
Well, I think you have to if you're the author. I mean, it's like writing songs or writing a book like I have, a full book, or a poetry book like you do. I think somewhere in there you pick what you love, you pick what you like, and that's what you print.
And you know what the problem is going to be? Is I love it. Everyone's going to hate it.
Hey, some of the best authors in the world have written books that they just hate. And
Yeah.
what really sucks is when they make a movie out of it.
Oh yeah.
Stephen King made that quote once. So, he's like, yeah, I wrote the book, and he said, I didn't like the book, and then we made a movie out of it, and I hated it afterwards. So,
Well, it's crazy because I'm looking into him because I bought a original Shining book. I told you that last time, and I'm trying to get a hold of him
mm-hmm.
to get him to sign it. And then I found out he hates Halloween, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like, shit.
Yeah,
I'm finding more about
his mind has got so much stuff in there, and people talk about dark people, and it's like, and I'm not talking color of the skin, I'm talking about how they relate to life and the things that go on in their mind, and it's like, a lot of that's psychologically is animalistic behavior. It's stuff like when we first came out of the pond, we're animals, you know what I mean? That's the first thing about us. So there's a lot of things that we carry as human beings in our heads that sit way back in the filing cabinets that we don't even open anymore,
Right.
But we all have dark times. We all have dark thoughts.
Everyone does.
He's just able to reach to them and put them on paper.
And that's the thing. And like, if people can't reach that, then there's no story or anything in the world. It's just a conveyor belt of the same shit all the time.
Right.
Like this is just like, you have the Bigfoot where, what is it, a coloring book or some shit like that? Or
we're in the middle of producing our first coloring book for Buddy the Bigfoot. And basically the money goes for the kids. I mean, it's what he wanted to do.
And you see, that's what's needed because you're now opening the eyes of the young for a kind of paranormal aspect of life going into it. So it's, but you're giving them also fun instead of like
because
bullshit.
I think the way it came across was to be a little educational, but really not that much. It's more of making people or the younger generations realize that the paranormal isn't so scary. That I'm not saying go up and hug Bigfoot, but
of course
I'm saying it's why we don't know enough about him. We don't know if he's a bad guy, but it. If you got a character that you're using in some of your promotions and stuff like that, it's kind of like what they did with Ronald McDonald for McDonald's. You have to take that character and make him bright and fun and give him, something to do. So he's always been that pull for the kids to say,
and like
I want to go to McDonald's,
The Dare character, what was he,
Right.
McGruff? That fucking dog?
Yeah, Smokey the Bear.
Smokey the Bear.
There's plenty of characters. Look at Disney.
Indeed, for sure.
Yes, Tom, and Daryl the Bigfoot.
So I gotta find these comments. So I gotta just I'm not gonna mess with the screen at all because like I don't want to lose you guys. I got a perfect connection right now.
All right, Chanel says the younger bunch coming out are hooked on TV ideas and screwing up them left and right. Well,
I agree.
There's a lot out there on TV that, hell, when we were kids or when I was a kid, you didn't see the stuff that's out there right now. It was like, oh, no. Censorship was huge back then. Octane, Teddy for president. Nope, don't want that job. Ain't happening.
No, hell no, I wouldn't want that job either, for Christ's sake. Shit.
Oh, my God. So, do you have one of those poems handy? Let's talk about some of this stuff in there.
I have a few. The way I did it is I have them all here. I'll just read the first one right off the bat, and then the other ones are here.
All right.
And forgive me if I stutter on my own poems and shit like that.
Okay.
It's because it is what it is. It says, writing is much of a journal to dreams at which you fly. A Friday is a mirror at which you scry. Music plays on a record at which I never hit play. This happens often, dead time into day. It is ongoing beat at which I never move my feet. Is it all in my head? I'm done. Scary thing is, I'm not the only one. They say in day, I hear it too. Isn't that the question? A beat that plays, no jukebox, no quarters, no selection.
Wow. That's pretty deep. But I get it, I think I get it. I mean...
I hope so.
Yeah. I mean, I love the whole... It's kind of weird because it started out a little different at first, but, connecting all the dots. It seems like you did that. It rhymed like some poetry does, and it's
And that's the thing, Teddy. Like, most people say you got to rhyme in poetry. I don't believe in that. I just feel like you just have to just speak your mind. If it doesn't rhyme, it doesn't matter. Your words are on paper. And that's me being a little bit cocky going into the second book, because I know what I write.
Right.
And that's it,
Right. Tom makes a little statement here. He says, writing books can be like YouTube videos. You're expected to make some in the beginning, then don't do so well.
Well, sorry, that one sucked, Tom.
But once you get a following, those books can take off and do extremely well. You too many O's, not enough F's. He said that later on. And then Robert White says Cindy for VP 2024. Nope, that definitely is not a winning combination. Nothing would ever get done. But I like it. It's sort of like, getting back to the poem, it's sort of like that whole thing of like, it's like every day is like, you're not sure which way to turn. You don't know what you should be doing. You don't walk the same beat as everybody else. You're a little on the outside. Everything's strange. Everything is different. It's like waking up and saying, nope, I'm going back to bed because I don't want to deal with the day.
Well, yeah, it's cool. And I'll give you a little hint of that poem too. Like, because I tell you, I let everyone decipher every poem because I don't title it.
Right.
So I have a neighbor who heard a song, and it was the I think it was the Candyman Ken or whatever it was. But she kept hearing the songs and shit like that. And then my cousin kept hearing beats in his head. And then I hear beats all along the way too. And there's no music playing. And it's like, there's something in the universe, like almost like a record playing.
Right.
As we're doing paranormal. So it's like, I wrote that poem for that reason, not for anything else. But like, if it means something to somebody in a different factor, so be it.
Right. Well, I think your poetry is poetry is one of these things where it's up for interpretation. Everybody takes it and understands it in their own way. Like,
indeed,
there is no wrong way to take, a certain poem. Everybody takes it on its own meaning, and which is a great thing. That's what you want.
Right?
If you think about like the way they used to do hippie poetry, I mean, it was all like a drum beat, and then they just started reading their poems, and what came to mind, and some of it was really out there, but that's what poetry is. It's just random thoughts that you're trying to make sense of, and you put them down on paper, and you get what you get. Some people relate, some people don't.
That's exactly right. And it's like, once you read it later, sometimes it may take 10 years. You read it again, it's like, holy shit, it makes sense.
Yeah, and it could have had a different meaning in the first
Right.
Yeah, I get it. Tom says, I have an early video that now has over 2,000 views for only 366 subscribers. He goes, that is a lot. And I agree, but the longer things are out there, it's like writing a book. When you write a book, you first put it out there. You may not fall in the top 200, but eventually it might become, instead of being like number 2021, it might be number 120. It takes time sometimes for people to find the book, especially when you can't afford to advertise. Usually it's word of mouth, and it's the same with everything else that happens. Look at the way the music or songs on the charts go. It's how many times it's played, how many times it's requested.
Right.
So
I said it. I'm going to be famous after I'm dead. So it is what it is.
My God, that's crazy.
It is what it is.
I get it. I just Octane had one up there that said "Serenade Me." Oh my goodness!
I will share a few more with you guys a little later. We don't have to do it right now, but I have two more I will share within the night, just to see the borderline of where I do go with it, because this one is a bit out there.
Okay. Well, I was going to ask, because it's kind of a normal thing when you're doing an interview, but your inspiration for this stuff, is it just life stuff? Is it just like how you're feeling that day? Um, what do you
It,
think?
you know, there's so much that goes through my mind and feelings throughout life of what I've felt, been through, going through, and want to see. Um, in those moments, the answer truly is I have no idea. They're just there.
Right, right. I mean, because if you look at the way some music is, actually a lot of music today, even music from the past, it's always taken from that emotional side of what we go through. It's like what we're
Right.
dealing with at that moment in our life, and that's why there's so many like songs from like, I don't know, all these female singers that talk about their boyfriends or, when they broke up or blah, blah, blah. And of course, that's the country side of it. But,
Yeah.
even rap today has so many things in there and it's an emotional tie. It's something that they went through and they experienced in their life. So they write it that way. And I think poetry's the same way. And so is writing a fictional book. You dream and you sit down and you write it and you make it a piece of work, a piece of art.
I think all musicians, on my behalf, and I'm not going to speak for everyone, they are all poets. Now, you talk about a female singer right now. There's Ginger with Tatiana of metal, because I love metal music. Now, there's Courtney LaPlante. She's got Spirit Box is her band. She's fucking amazing, to be honest with you. So she'll take you to a place where it's like, blessed be. Everyone, blessed be is all over my friggin' book. And then she'll just take you to this like screaming friggin' heavy world and then bring you back to like this melodic beautifulness of her. I appreciate the female voice of how they could go from heavy to a siren. And I love it.
Right. I think all voices, depending on whether you're trained or all natural, either way, the human voice, I mean, and what we have and we're able to convey through music and sounds it's a wonderful thing. It can move you, and it can make you happy. It can make you sad. It can make you just, feel a bit better about your day, or it can put you in a stoop. It can just make you just want to crawl back in bed and cuddle up in the corner.
Truthfully,
when you convey that through a poem or a book, it can react the same way. It's just you're reading that and taking it in a different, through a different sense, more or less.
Indeed. Well, I'm trying to talk to this girl as far as doing the voiceover for my book, because I think people would understand the first book into the second book better if they just listen to it rather than read it. Because you probably have to read it like 5 or 6 times to even like maybe understand some of it.
Well, I'm going to kind of make a connection here with a couple things. Like, I don't know how many people are pagan in the chat room really will understand this, but right. But it's kind of like when you're writing a chant or you're writing
just like Madonna, like a prayer.
Right. I mean, you're writing your prayers or whatever the case may be, or what you're trying to manifest, and a lot of that is poetry. To be honest with you,
it's all poetry.
It's for what you need to do, what you're trying to convey, what you're trying to build. You have to make sure you have all your elements of that whole big thing in one poem,
and you have to mean it. It's got to be in your guts.
Oh, it's all got to be emotion. It's got to be something that emotions are what drives this stuff.
And it's like roses are red, violets are blue is all bullshit. You don't never start a poem like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But it's just the connection is there with, if you can sit down and write something that's very personal and then kind of look at it and read it a couple hundred times and say, how do I make that a poem? You have to go outside your box and you have to start thinking about other things, and interpret that with light and dark and black and white and all, you know what I mean? All these different things. You got to let your feelings just take it away. You just have to.
And in some things, you're right. You have to consider that you will lose friends who don't agree with you.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Now, that's like everything else in life. I mean, you could step the wrong way and somebody could be pissed at you and not be your friend anymore. Who cares?
I understand. And like, I'm on that same path too. It's like, you know what? Half the shit I write and the next book that comes out, you know, half the people are probably going to unfriend me because they're like, ah, fuck, this guy's, you know, I see where he goes with this shit. Right. And it is what it is. But I'm going to be me.
Yeah. And you know what? But there are some people that's going to work with. I mean, people are going to pick it up and it may not fit for this person, but it may be exactly what the other person needs.
In 60 I lose, I'll gain 120.
Yeah. Yeah.
Truthfully.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's you can't worry about, it's kind of like the whole critics thing. It's like, you know, a singer writes a song and the critics hate it. You know, somebody writes a movie, critics hate it. Somebody writes a book, the critics hate it. Do you think that the critics are what damage these people to the point where they stop writing or whatever? No, you have to take that in and say, you know what, that's his or her opinion. And,
well,
and it doesn't mean anything. You know, I'm going to keep doing what I do because there's other people out there that it touches in a different way.
I think a job as a critic, it shouldn't exist. Who the fuck are you to tell me if my work is good or bad? Like, no critic should exist in the world. You know what I'm saying? It's like, if you don't like it, don't fucking buy it. You know, and don't tell the world.
That's the point. I mean,
I mean, no critic should be existing. No, you know, books, movies, all that. You know, somebody makes movies and we write books and shit because we think it's good and it's for ourselves. And we're trying to put, like I said, entertainment out in the world. Our last interview, just put it out there for somebody to enjoy. Who the fuck is for somebody to say we don't like it? You don't like it, don't read it. Right. Don't look at it. Right. You know?
And it's one of those things, like, there are people that have gone through life experiences that just put it out there in books because it may help somebody else along. And it's the same with your music, it's the same with writing a book, it's the same with poetry. It's, you know, it's not, you're never going to please 100% of the population with no matter what you do. So you have to take it in and say, you know what, but if I can reach one person with it and it changes their life or helps them deal with what they're going through.
Only one.
Yeah, then I did my job.
That's all you need to do, is reach one. And if one person feels good about that, you did good to the universe and you did your job. Right. That's all that counts.
Right, exactly. And that's why, you know, they say there's a decline on people that dream. And I think it's because, like artists, the problem with that is that we've become a civilization where we're too picky in what we see, hear, or want to see and hear. Yeah. And that needs to go away. The freedom of being an artist has always been, do what you need to do, get that expression out, get what you're feeling out, display it to the world and let people see it.
Yep.
There is no good, there is no bad, there is no, you know, it's sort of like what you're saying with the critics. It's like, who cares? This is your expression. This is the way you felt at the time, and that's what you need to do.
Ted, I have a poem right now that deals with this entire thing. However, though, I don't have backup tonight. I'm by myself, and I can't get inside to go get it. I have the poems I'm going to read you. I reach all these subjects in this second book.
Right.
Oh, you know, it would have been perfect to, you know, knowing we're going this route,
segue,
to have them ready. Right. But shit, here we are.
I get it. Tom says, this is the thing that keeps me going with my videos, the amount of people who find joy in what I am doing in that garden. And kudos to you, Tom.
Yeah, I mean, job, Tom. Honestly, he's doing a really good job. I've seen the pictures. It looks awesome.
Right. And he really loves the place, and it's his place to go and free his mind.
For sure. I mean, I want to see it with my own eyes one of these days when I'm allowed to travel again.
What is that line from that song? Is that free your mind, your heart will follow? I mean,
I don't know.
I think that's the line, and I think it's a great line, to be honest with you.
No, it's a great line. Yeah, I just don't recognize it. So, yeah.
I don't know. I think it was like Lady Gaga or somebody, who knows. But it's just one of those things. It's like, if you stop like overthinking, stop criticizing yourself. Stop doing all this stuff. Your mind will will lay down for your heart to follow. I guess is the best way to put it. Your heart will take over. Tom says the community loves what I think he says the community loves what he does and the other volunteers. I think that's what he means.
Well, I think that's good too. Yeah, fuck yeah, Tom, you're doing a good job.
Octane says, if I let people's opinion of me stop me, I wouldn't still be killing people. Octane, you're a trip. Oh my God, that's nutso.
That's cool.
So this is what we need to do is we've already been on here for just about 40 minutes now, which is crazy. It's gone by
Been that
so
long.
fast.
Holy shit.
Yeah, it's gone fast. So I got to take a quick commercial break. I'm going to play something here about WLFE and the new shows that are coming on, and then we're going to come back and talk for the next 40 minutes and with Dom and have a good time. So don't go anywhere, folks. We'll be right back.
Thank you.
WLFE-DB Radio.
All right, we're sitting here talking with Dom, and he's got a brand new show coming up on WLFE-DB Radio. It's going to be on Monday nights at 10 o'clock right here on WLFE, as well as YouTube and Facebook and all the way down the line. So make sure you guys tune in and check out Dom's new show. We're sitting here talking to him right now about his second book. It's actually called Two. That is the name of the book, and it's a book of poetry. And a different type of poetry, which is really cool. And we're loving the topic. Here is the cover of the book that he has for it, which is awesome. And he allowed me to be a part of that. I think is fantastic, and I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. I'm very grateful
Thank
for
you.
that.
I really appreciate that. Tom says, in Vogue, free your mind and the rest will follow. Be colorblind. Don't be so shallow. Okay, well, Tom knows what it was. That's amazing.
Yeah, hell yeah.
So it was Vogue. Okay, cool. So your poetry, I mean, you said to me, like in the first book, you said, hey, man, here's my book of poetry. It's dark. And, it took me a while to figure out what you mean. And now that we're friends and we've been talking a lot, I understand what you mean.
Indeed.
And I think in every avenue of the arts, especially in writing, whether it be book, poetry, even songs, it doesn't matter. Like we have been talking about, it's emotions. It's taking from places in our hearts and our minds of usually the good things that happen, the bad things that happen, and then sometimes it's just something you think about, and it doesn't even have to really happen to you, but it's something that just you hear, you see, you feel, or you have an opinion on, and you write about it. It could be a drive, it could be something that says, hey, I don't like what's happening in the world today, and this is my opinion. And I think it's great. But there's also a side to that, folks, that where if you kind of think or believe in something different, if you're like, I'm a very nocturnal person. I don't get to bed till 5, 6 o'clock in the morning. My life revolves around being busy all day long, and then my resting period is at night. But I'm also very much into sci-fi, the things like vampires, the macabre, all of that stuff. So it's like, being nocturnal for me, I can sit down and write a ton of things about vampirism, the dog man, Bigfoot, things in the night. I can sit down and write poetry as well. I'm not very good at it. So, there's different places that all this is coming from, and I guess that's the best way to put it. And it's okay if it's dark. It's okay if it's corny. It's okay if it's, an every life situation. And that's what poetry is. Same thing as a lyric from a song or a verse from a song.
Right. It's in the aspect of you don't have to like it at all.
Mm-hmm.
Like, like I said on the first time, it's like, if you enjoy my work, thank you.
Right.
If you bought my book and you hate it, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But
thank
it's
you for buying the book.
Well, yeah, at the same time, it's like, I would say I would try to do better, but I'm still going to be me, and I'm going to put my shit out there. And if you keep buying it, that's on you.
But look at some of these artists of the past. Look at Picasso. Look, I don't get his stuff. I don't get his art at all.
Yeah.
There's stuff out there that I see today that's displayed as art, and I'm like, okay, it's just a couple of squiggly lines. What the hell does that mean?
Yeah, and I see paintings with just a bunch of shit thrown on it. It's like, oh, well, this fucking means this. It's like a yellow fucking, like, yellows and reds and shit just thrown on a fucking white canvas. And I'm like, what are you talking about? This means what?
Right. And
it sells for $500.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
I saw a picture, and you brought up the color. It was completely like a really bright yellow into a dark gold. And the only description on this painting was, my mood was anger.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't get it. Until I actually started looking up certain things where certain beliefs, certain customs, and the way some psychologists take it is yellow is an angry color.
And I thought it would have been a nice color. See,
right.
What an anger picture. It would have been a fucking hole through the fucking frame. It's like, oh yeah, there's his anger. No yellow.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy. Everybody's interpretation is different, and it can be really good and it can be really bad. But as artists go, whether you're painting a picture or writing a song or a poem or whatever,
yeah,
you write this stuff, you put it down, unless you lock it away in your own book and leave it in your dresser drawer, you're never going to get opinions. Nobody will ever see it, and you won't get feedback.
Right.
And yes, sometimes it's bad, but sometimes it's good. It's all about expressing yourself. It's all about being you. And if you take and you put it on the internet or out in book form or whatever the case may be, you're allowing other people to see inside you. And
right.
You decide whether you want that to happen or not.
And it's crazy because when you think about that format, if I just kept this all in my heart, the world would never be able to see a different aspect of thought that maybe they have the same feeling too. So I hope my words reach somebody
Right.
and say, hey, fuck, I totally agree with this poem, even if it means something different to them.
Right.
And that's, I'd be selfish to just keep it to myself.
Right.
Even though I'm making money on the things, I would still be selfish by keeping my words to myself.
Right.
And I'm only making money on it to put more work out to keep art pushing out, you know?
Right. No,
As
I totally get that. I mean, and it's an expression.
Yeah.
We're sitting here, for some of you that are just joining us. We're sitting here talking with Dom. He's got a new show coming on WLFE, as well as he's written a couple books, and basically they're books of poetry. And it's, if you know anything about poetry or writing a book or anything like that, it's an expression. And so that's what our conversation is about tonight. It's about expressing yourself. And it's Dom expressing himself through his poetry. But I think we're going to take the next few minutes and let's talk about the show, because I want to make sure we get enough of that in.
I absolutely want to.
So you joined WLFE-DB Radio. You wanted your own show. You got one. It's called Real Talk with Dom. And it's going to be on Monday nights at 10 o'clock right after Parrot Talk Radio. So why don't you tell the people, the listeners that we have out here, what your show's about?
Well, it's pretty simple. I mean, you see Ouija boards and stuff like that. It's almost the complete opposite. It's going to be real talk. So my first guest is that symbol. I'm sorry if you guys hear rain. I have a big storm coming through, and I'm going to close this window. Can you hear that?
Yeah, we did.
All right. So let me close this window. I can only do so much about that. I'm sorry. Just a big storm.
Okay.
But Possessed Tranquility is a band out of the West. The Unexplained is my main track for my show with Real Talk with Dom. Good people. They just motivated me when I started the Haunted Realtor. That kind of fell through, dumped through, and never went anywhere as of right now. And I love them since, and they've been just, with me since. And they told me, take the symbol, take everything, and just literally run with it. They believed in what I did, right. And I'm grateful for that. And as you've seen, Teddy, so they're going to be the first guest on the show, Possessed Tranquility, and they're good people. Second is I'm going to do Jen on the second show, and we're going to have a little special thing as far as the Haunted Happy Hour, and then go from there. I'm going to do wrestling. I got mediums. I got bus drivers for celebrities that are going to be on who've seen Bigfoots on the road. It's just everywhere I'm going with it. There is no, it's just real talk.
Right. So it's just going to be normal conversation, just stuff that everybody's, whatever they bring to the table, or whatever you can. We have a couple other shows like that as well that are what they're called variety shows.
Yeah.
And you know what? Sometimes real talk is a good thing. It's all you can do is see how it goes, right?
Yeah, I hear you. And I'm sorry, I know it's probably loud with this storm. It's a big storm coming through. It just hit.
That's okay. That's all right. We'll get through it. That's not a problem, So.
But yeah, I mean, it's gonna be good. It's gonna be real good, the entire show. So and then I'm okay to the people who I have on to share with guests of WLFE, push people, help us as a family, because we're all doing this together. If you don't like me, see another guest, or there's Sid, there's you, there's friggin' Psychic Cindy. Work it out that way.
Right. No, I get it. Sometimes just plain conversation can be good. And then, if you reach out to your listeners and say, hey, what do you want to talk about, or get a
Right,
subject, sometimes that'll be good too.
right.
I think it's great. I mean, you are a poet, and maybe bringing on some of those topics that you write about is a good idea as well. You know.
Yeah, I totally will. And then I the music aspect of bands with poetry brings me alive with what we're doing because I'm going to find a lot of bands and just talk about where they come from with lyrics. I
Mm-hmm.
love it, you know.
Right.
So
Right.
I'm gonna go into that aspect a lot too. I think the hardest part of going into every Monday night is having a friggin' guest.
Yeah. Well, it's not an easy thing. I mean, we've been, well, come January it'll be 5 years for Parrot Talk Radio, and it's taken us a long time to get the speed rolling, on the
Yeah,
show. And you just have to keep going. You just if it means a lot to you, you'll find the guests. You just keep asking, reaching out, and hopefully it'll work for you. I mean,
yeah,
this is something you got to have the drive for. So far, I mean, you have reached out to me, every other day or so, at least a couple times a week. You talk about what you want
yeah.
to do, and you're pretty committed to it. So I
Yeah, this
actually
is a
wish you a lot
nonstop
of luck
gig.
with it.
No,
Yeah.
I'm gonna stick with you all the way through. I'm not leaving you ever with this. I mean, you are my wingman. You literally fucking helped me all the way through, and I'm sticking by you, and I appreciate that. And then people I bring on with me, and people I show you to, you believed in them too, as what happened last night. So it all works out.
You know what? It's one of those things like if you give somebody, it's like a singer or somebody on Broadway. You give them a stage, they'll show you what to do with it. And
Right.
pretty much it's the same way with WLFE. John's, like I said, John's vision was, bring in shows, give them the opportunity, see if what they want to talk about or what their show is about is interesting enough to carry on, and so on
Right.
and so forth. So, you have time to make your show what you want it to be.
Yeah, for
You
sure.
know,
And I got
and that's
ideas
awesome.
because I got people who are artists, and we're gonna actually interact in the shows instead of like it just being here with Dom and like where you're there. I'm gonna make sure that shit's happening as far as like certain people who make things. We're going through the entire process of them making their shit that they do, like pictures that are 3D.
Nice.
Everyone's gonna be able to watch and shit like that. So it's like I want people to learn,
Right.
uh, not get bored, and just technically, interact with things. And pretty much a learning experience.
Right.
Just for me, too, I'm going to learn as well as I'm on that.
Right. Well, I've learned over the years with not Talk with Teddy, because Talk with Teddy is only like 70 episodes or something like that. But I've learned that you pick a topic or something you want to talk about, you bring it in, you ask your fan base ahead of time, and you try to get them to give you an idea of what they want to hear about it, and you move on with it. And
Yeah.
sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. You just can't give up. I mean, you got to
Yeah.
just. It's kind of like writing, like you do with your poetry. It's like, and the same with me with songs. I've sold a couple songs, so for me, it's kind of cool. And it takes a lot to sell a song. It takes a lot to write the song too.
Yeah.
But you have to enjoy it. You have to like it, and it has to be a piece of work that you're proud of. You know what I mean?
I do, because Possessed, the symbol back there, uh, they said that they're going to take some of my poetry and make songs out of it. And I said, I don't want to make no money on it. I
Right.
just wanted to put it out in the universe that people know that I wrote it, and then you guys can make music out of it. And they
Right.
said yes. So it's gonna be friggin' cool. Like I could put on a fucking iTunes. Here's a song from Possessed, which is pretty awesome, and it's my words.
Right. Right.
You know,
Yeah, it's cool. I mean, I've seen stuff. I myself, I've written short stories. I've had them printed. I've had them, copywritten the whole thing, and I've put them online for people to read. Some I actually put in frames and I keep on my wall as a memory. As in like, hey,
yeah,
this is something that I wrote when I was 15. This is something I wrote when I was 35.
yeah,
And you do you. You do it the best way you can, and I love it. I mean, writing is an art. Being an artist is phenomenal. And expression is where it all leads.
Yeah.
It's getting it out there and having somebody else say, hey, you know. Genevieve says, nothing is more rewarding than when someone resonates with your art. And that's absolutely true.
Indeed, my friend. Now I
Absolutely
love
true.
this because there's the symbol here of Witchwood, and then the Jersey Shore ghost tours. Your book, Witchwood. I mean, she's been on like friggin' the channel, the Travel Channel, as far as like haunting in Alaska and shit like that. She's gonna be on the show. Um, she's amazing. I just have a nice schedule, and I would like to start putting this up on Real Talk with Dom as far as the whole schedule goes. And like with the wrestlers and stuff that I have ready to go, I think this is just gonna work out very nice because I'm motivated for this. I really love it.
Good. I'm glad to hear that. That's awesome. And so you said, going back to the book quick, you said you're not going to be doing a third book anytime soon?
I don't want to. I can't promise myself that, but I really don't want to. I would like to focus on Real Talk with Dom. I would like to focus on selling these first two books.
Okay.
And then maybe letting my feelings simmer with life.
Okay.
And then see where the third book could go.
I hope it's not sappy.
Oh, no shit. I don't, I hope not
Just
either.
pulling your chain, man.
I hope there's not roses are red, violets are blue shit. Like I said earlier. No, I think I just need to take a break with thinking and just focus on these shows with you, and then focus on selling these two books in a way where it's not like shoving it down people's throats, but saying, "Hey, take a look at art."
Right.
I'm looking at pricing right now as far as the second book and the ebook. I'm going to drop the ebooks down, and because the hardcovers are coming out, I think I'm going to keep the hardcovers at $7.99 and then bring the ebooks lower. You know what I'm saying? So it's like they wanted me to do the ebooks because of COVID-19, and I understand that because people touch shit and all that. And,
Right.
But I got to look at all that shit.
Well, I have two books out there too, and I'm actually working on my third.
They're right here. I got them.
And they're all the soft cover books. Sometimes going hardcover is just it's expensive, and it's like why? I just
when I say hardcover, I mean my shit's going to soft cover too, like kind of like that. But that's better than ebook.
Well, that when I signed up with mine to get mine done. There was an offer where you did your soft-covered book, and then your ebook was a certain price, and then, I just said, hey, why not? What the hell? So ebook is actually pretty cheap. In fact, they take it and they rotate it sometimes to where it's free. So
I do want to get with you later on a certain call for self-publishing because I'm going through a publisher right now, but I was given the option to self-publish both books as well on top of what I'm doing. So we'll talk later.
Well, I'll be honest with you right now, just to give you a bit of my look with this is self-publishing is cool. You have all rights to do what you want. The problem is you have to do your own advertising. You have to do your own pushing and all that stuff. If you self-publish through like Amazon or something like that, they only do a limited amount of things for you.
I understand.
Sometimes a publisher is the right way to go. And if you're looking at money, yeah, I understand. They take a good chunk of that, but they're also working for it.
I actually make a good amount on the first book from what I have right now as a publisher. I mean,
it's good.
It sells for $7.99. I make $5 a book.
Right.
And it is what it is. Well, that it's cool.
See, that's not bad though. I mean, that's pretty good. So I don't know, just think about it. But I understand going, to the self-publishing. I totally get it. I understand. So.
I'll tell you what, why I don't want to self-publish is for the fact that I don't have to worry about it with these people. They just literally do all of my work, know?
See, and that's one of those pluses,
So
Yeah, no, I get it. And sometimes when you have to, with your book or your writings, you have to have somebody go through, and they can be very judgmental and critical on some of the things that you do.
Yeah,
But their whole premise behind it is they want to make sure it sells because they want to make money just like you do. So, I
indeed. And
get it.
it's crazy because, like, when I said I want to hire somebody here, it's like, I want to write and do, my thing, but I don't want to have to think about the logistics of everything, like turning on the computer and the lights and shit tonight. Like, this is why I want to hire somebody. It's like, well, shit, I want to
You kill
just
me,
come in.
Dom. You kill
Well,
me.
I'm saying,
You got to do it yourself, man. You
I know,
gotta.
and that's what I'm doing. I'm like, that's what I didn't want to do. I just wanted to walk in tonight and say, hey, here I am. But I had to do it all alone.
Oh, I
Amelia
do not.
Earhart
I
tonight.
do not feel bad for you
No, I know,
whatsoever.
and I don't feel bad for me either. It's like,
You,
wow, but fuck.
you have to learn to do it because I'll tell you something. And I've learned this from experience that when you get other people to do things for you, it's never the way you want it. First of all,
I know.
and the second time, um, when you start doing it and something, or when somebody else does it for you and something goes wrong and you can't get a hold of those people, you're like,
You blame
uh,
them. Yeah.
yeah, it's like, come on,
So,
um,
I don't know.
yeah, it's crazy. So, with poetry and stuff like that, it's awesome, and I don't know, kudos to you. I think it's great that you got your second book out.
Well, how
I
much
think
time do we
it's
have left?
not very much. We kind of went over a little bit, but that's okay. So, and by the way, your mother says she's here for hire, so she'll do your job for you.
She's already fired.
She's already fired. Oh man.
Oh, I just snorted too. Don't tell anybody.
All these people watching, you heard it. I didn't see you made it noticeable by saying something about it. So that's okay.
Well, I could read one more that
Yeah,
like
go for it.
technically is gonna piss people off, and then whatever. But I'll go into it, and then sorry if I stutter because I'm just reading the words that I don't remember I wrote. It says a plus sign that doesn't add up. Yet any other mathematics become wrong and shunned in a scientific world proven of none. There is no equal. The original texts falter themselves as there have been no true prequel. Yet three and planes lined in five parallel stars. Parallel star turned inverted in half degree. One may feel arrive away from once known plus sign, at which stories told once did survive. In a mote it be, and a blessed be, with do what thou wilt, into the number fold no guilt. In a text seance once can truly feel chaos, the agent of infinity. As the moon numbers of night, dark and count right to bright, fall to your knees in all books. It's the powers to belong, yet one says your numbers are wrong. But that math may add up at 1111 of powerful circled 8, a 1988 divided by 3, at which the populated disagree. But at the equal you eat your fill, with no thought to count, no wager, no bill. A free gave within equation, no persuasion. It's always been your voice in that once non-evolved math problem solved.
Hmm.
Sorry, I
That's
stuttered.
all. That's okay. But there's a lot in there in that.
It really is, and it took me a minute to read that because like I have to go back in there and see it as I go because
Right.
I'm not a reader. I just write it, and
No, I get it. I get it. It's just the first poem that you wrote, I had no problem deciphering. This one here, it's making me think of a lot of different things, and the first thing that came to mind is don't worry about being another number, being another digit. Just do what you do and be yourself. That's the first thing that I got off of it. Um, the second thing is more like um, it's okay to be different. It's okay to if you don't add up to other people's equations, to other people's endings or results, you're okay. You can still be yourself. I mean
you know
it's
what's great about that? Everything you're saying, is completely away from everything I wrote, but you deciphered it in the way you heard it and the way you may read it.
Yeah, I mean, there's stuff in there, like you said with Blessed Be. There's stuff in there when it comes to the cultures. There's stuff in there that comes with the mathematics, as in being a number or being a figure. It was. I'll be honest with you. It was all over the place. It was a little hard to follow at first.
Of course,
You
and
know,
that.
and go ahead.
No, of course. And when I put on my Facebook a few weeks ago, a friend of mine who is a poet, like I said he couldn't follow my poetry, but he goes, he understood it in a way that he knows my mind and it makes him think. So he has to go back and read it over and over and over again, which is what I wanted on this second one. I didn't want it to be something that you just get right off the bat. I want you to keep going back to the book. And in 10 years, go back to it and say, holy shit, I get it.
Right. But like I said earlier, though, too, with poetry, it's something that as you grow, so does your emotions, so does everything you take in, so does everything that you realize. So you may read it at 25, but then again, at 50, you read it, it may have two different meanings.
Exactly.
It grows with you. You know what I mean? It's that's why poetry is.
Yeah.
You know,
it's just words.
Sometimes it doesn't make a bit of sense while you're reading it at one point, but later on down in life, it may just give you an answer. You know?
Now I'll tell you this: if you read that one slow, you know, I'm not saying when you buy the book or if you buy the book, if you read it slow and go through all of it, it totally makes sense.
Right.
What it really truly means.
Yeah, Genevieve says, and that is the power of art. Love it. So, and that's it. I mean, there are things that you can write that you can sit down and simply just say, I know exactly what this means to me.
Yep.
But then again, as I stated earlier, 10 years down the road, you can read it again and go, why did I think that when this is how I feel now? You know, sometimes poetry just evolves or follows you, and it makes sense at different times. I mean, who knows? Poetry is like that. You know, it's the same with a song lyric. One day it means this, the next day it means something totally different.
Now, as a treat, I will do one more, if that's okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
And like I said, I am not a reader, so if I stutter on my own words, forgive me. But this is what it is. It says, "This is your journey. Under the leaves and stars, you were given no choices. Lesson learned from the many voices at which you swear to remember, voices that fold from September to December. Time is lost and lost, hurt to heal, a cell surreal, seconds in anxiety, hours of question, years of scars, a battery eventually to run low on bars. You smell, feel, taste, touch, all flavors of existing. Pleasure, hurt, sensual plates, not of worth. Resisting, insisting, keeping the kettle at burn. A tea evaporated in its urn, and what's once flavor took a bitter turn." And that's that last one right there.
Right.
There's so much, there's so much there to think about.
Right.
Not that it's good. It probably is horrible to many people. They're like, oh, that sucks. But it's like, if you sat in my guts and understood what that is, it really is truthful.
Yeah, there's a lot there that, it goes through emotions. It goes through almost like the changing the wheel of seasons. It goes through so many things there, feelings, emotions, anxiety. There's just so much in that, that would. So that poem itself is going to register with certain people at certain times, I think,
And I hope so. I hope people register it as, I could relate, or like I said, like back when we had our last interview, it's like, this guy sucks, or I like his work. I want people to like my work,
Right. No, I get that, but unfortunately, there's a lot of stuff out there with us that it's you can't worry about other people, what other people think about your stuff. And sure, you want everybody to like it, but
Yeah.
it's never gonna happen to where you get 100% of the people enjoying what you write or what you do, and you just gotta let it go.
For sure. And it is what it is. I mean, this second book's going out there. If you buy it, you buy it. I appreciate it if you do. Please send feedback on both books if you buy them. Like, hey,
Right.
what do you think? Like, what do I need to change if you think this aspect? Yeah, I believe in the fan base, but I'm still going to do things the way I want too, because if I don't do the things in the way I want, it's not going to be Dom.
Right. Right. No, I think you should just keep things the way you got them, just write and put it down and go from there. I mean, I think it's good work. I mean, no matter what, it's your work, and not everybody's going to understand it. Not everybody's going to agree with it, and you don't need everybody's acceptance either. So I think it's awesome. I think you did a good job with it. I'm excited about you joining the family here and having your own show.
And I thank you for that, because I'm excited from my heart that I'm part of this family. WLFE-DB, like, for sure. Like, you guys are straight up like real to me.
Awesome, thank you. Well, we appreciate that. But we're going to end it now. We've ran over a little bit, and I just wanted to say thanks to everybody for dropping by here. Please go and check out his new show. It's actually going to be Real Talk with Dom on Mondays at 10 p.m. on WLFE-DB Radio, and listed on WLFE-DB.com. You can check out his stuff Monday nights, 10 o'clock, right after Para Talk Radio. Pop in, check it out, and hopefully you'll enjoy what's going on there, and that's cool. I'm very happy to have you as my guest tonight, going through all this stuff. Welcome aboard.
Yep.
And to Genevieve again, thank you for your interview last night. We really enjoyed ourselves with you. I think it was fantastic. And to all of my friends that come in here and support me every week with Talk with Teddy and with Para Talk Radio, thank you so much for doing that as well. And I think that's it. So thanks, Dom. I appreciate it.
Thank you, and thank you for all the viewers. I appreciate it from the heart and back. We are here always.
All right. You have a good night, Dom. Thank you, everybody.
You as well, my friend.
Tuesday.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.